Welcome back, guys. This is Beyond the Black Tag with Mau and Jeremy Chakadama. We are grateful to have you again. And today we are continuing our conversation with Dr. Mdletshe. Before we go into our questions, we don't have a lot of time today. But before we go into our questions, I missed telling you guys last time how I got to meet Dr. Mdletshe. So he was serving as an Area 70 just before his mission, or just before he went to serve as a mission president. I was serving in Tembisa, and we had a state conference in Centurion with my companion, Elder Asitandile Moltino. And Dr. Mdletshe, I don't know if you remember this, but you said two things that were forever etched in my mind. The first one was, this meeting is going to end on time. You were very, very strict about the time, and it ended on time. I've never forgotten the experience of what it's like, of learning how important time was. And we were reminded in our last episode as well. And then secondly, you spoke about missionaries who follow the Spirit, and you gave an example of missionaries who were not so obedient and things that had gone wrong. This was before you guys served. And so my companion actually at the time, Elder Moltino, said that the reason he was on mission was because of you. The reason he was on mission was because you had visited his stake in Tanzania and had shared something that changed his life, and he decided that day that he's going to serve a mission. Wow. And so it was just a very beautiful moment to be in that room, to come full circle for him. And as it was for me, it was my first time meeting you. But Baba, we are grateful to have you once again. Today we want to continue our conversation from last time. So last time we spoke about our country's heritage, our country's past, the world's past, really, especially as it comes into the church. Today we want to speak about the family, right? The South African family, and everything that goes with that. In an article you wrote a couple of years ago with a professor from BYU, you shared a story of you visiting your aunt's home and coming home and finding 4 generations of women living under the same roof with challenges that we all face. A lot of Black South Africans face those challenges. And I could resonate a lot with what you were saying, because most of what you were saying was true for me. And I'm sure for a lot of our listeners, it is true for them. You know, you have the father in the house and the mother, maybe. You have the children, you have the children's children, and perhaps great-grandchildren, all living under the same roof. Whether the reason is economical or it's just how we were raised. But could you tell us a little bit about that experience and why that was so profound to you, to notice 4 generations of women living under the same roof?
With the same surname. Yeah. And so that stood out for me. What I like, though, from your comment there is that you're saying it's common in South Africa, and we see it more and more. And for example, I'll ask you a question. When was the last time you attended a wedding? You know, when was the last time in your neighborhood there was a wedding? So, as a Latter-day Saint, who has been taught that marriage is ordained of God and there is goodness in marriage, not only one who has been taught, but one who has experienced what it's like to be married and have a family. That stands out for me. But also there is enough literature, scientific literature, that point out to the fact that children that are raised in the nucleus family with mom and dad, the likelihood of them succeeding is increased than the children that are born out of a single mother or a single parent. Let me say a single parent. 2/3 of our children in South Africa are being raised in a single household. So, which means that the social ills that individuals and families are experiencing in life can never be overcome if we do not have families, nucleus families. And I'm very cautious with what I'm saying now. Let me make just a correction on what I'm saying. I'm not saying that other family formation, whether a child-headed household or a grandmother-headed household or just children by themselves, have no chances of success.
Mm-hmm.
If I say so, then I'll be lying, because there are a lot of people that still succeed.
Mm-hmm.
But the literature and the gospel teaching saying there is even a better chance to succeed if one comes from a family with mom and dad, if children are born within the bonds of marriage.
Mm.
Because the mother and the father contribute equally, but also differently in the raising up of children at home. So, and that for me is important. I'm fortunate in that I was raised in a home with mom and dad. My wife was raised in a home with mom and dad. That really gave us an unbelievable foundation. We pay tribute to that kind of an upbringing.
Yeah.
It has been my prayer that I live long enough to see my children grow. But not only me, but me and my wife, we see them grow, because I think the chances of us giving them a success in life are increased with both of us around.
So here's my question, Bob. And I love what you've said, that I love the disclaimer as well about how people who do come out of these homes that are single parent homes do still stand a chance to succeed. You know, I think anybody in any situation does have a chance to succeed, but also that fact, if you're born in a more suited environment, or a healthier environment, you have a better chance of succeeding. So it's up to everyone. But my question then to you is, for those people, for those children that are born into these situations, what is the focus that they should have? You know, because I think there's a lot of repercussions that come from this. You know, one of the questions that we have for you is about the education that comes from our parents of old. You know, my mom is somebody who always would say to us, you know, me, I learned with Bantu education. I don't do the math that you kids do today, you know? So our parents were educated differently. And neither do I want to say less, but compared to what the way that education was then compared to what it is now, it has evolved, it has changed a lot. So what would you say should be the focus for that child who's born into this situation? Would it be educating themselves on family, or, you know, focusing on, I don't know, the gospel, focusing on getting money? What kind of a focus, or how should this child go about, you know, trying to succeed?
Well, again, I'm going back, Sharagama, what I said. I said they can still succeed. So
Right.
what happened is that as soon as they learn that, by the way, I need not to have this experience that I grew up in, then they must start looking for models, for role models, and start patterning their lives after those role models.
Mm.
This is very easy in the church. Those that are in the church, those are members of the church, because the likelihood in the church of finding role models that will make you succeed is greater than outside of the church. Because of the close knit that we have, but also because of the teachings that we get on the regular basis on how we can chart our own lives. One of our family members, a female family member, who joined our family, married into the family. One time she came to our home and she saw a picture of my mom and dad. She saw a picture of my mother-in-law and my father-in-law. And then it was my picture and our children. And she said, I've never seen this before. I want this for myself. And she said, I want this for myself. She said, I'm going to be the first one in my family to break this one surname that we have had. My grandmother had it, my mother had it, I'm going to have a different surname, and I'm going to raise my children. And I was standing next to her when she said this. And indeed, she did marry in the family, and she's raising a great family. And so what we need to do, we need to have role models, whether those role models are for us getting great jobs, great education, succeeding in sports, because in our communities, there are pockets of excellence. But we must identify those pockets of excellences. We must be inspired by certain people to say, despite where we have come from, despite our background, but there is something that is good that I want to become, and then identify it, and then do everything you can to party in your life after those pockets of excellence that you have seen that you want to be. You can't say, I want to be this, but then you don't follow the pattern that will lead you to where you want to get.
Yeah.
Baba, I have a follow-up question. So some of the things you've mentioned are things that all of us aspire to have, right? Especially if you become a member of this church, you will learn very early that marriage and marriage in the temple is the ideal. You will learn of eternal family. You will learn of the patterns you've just explained to us right now. But there are many impediments. There's many stumbling blocks and roadblocks. One of them in SA is a lack of education, right? Which then leads to a lack of income. So, and therefore we marry later in life, right? Maybe I want to save up money until I'm or maybe when I'm 30 or when I'm 35, only then when I start to get married, because only then would I have made the money that I want to make. And so we see a trend of delaying marriage or delaying the family that you have expressed right now. One of the other things in SA is Lobola, which is a big thing for us. And the church has spoken, has been quite vocal about that. But in our time, in 2023, we still find challenges when it comes to this part of Lobola. What has the church counseled on Lobola? And how can we as young people today adhere to that counsel?
Well, I'm going to go along with what the church has said, in my own opinion. There's nothing wrong with Lobola. And I mean, I think that we must not tell people or teach people something that is not correct. The church has never said that there's anything wrong with the Lobola. The church has said this. There should be nothing that stops two young people that love each other from getting married, including Lobola. Mm-hmm. If Lobola is standing on your way to getting married, then there is everything wrong with the Lobola. But if you have money to go and pay Lobola, there is everything good about Lobola. You know, those are two different things, and you know, I mean, and people must get this thing very right. They're making the church look bad in society, in the community, and said the church has said that we must not pay Lobola. The church has not said that. The church has said that nothing should stop young people that love each other from getting married, including Lobola. And so, for me, I've always said to the young people, because then this what happens to those that hold the views that the church has said you mustn't pay Lobola. They go ahead and get married at the exclusion of the parents, at the exclusion of the relative. And they said, we love each other, we're going to go and get married. Forget about our parents and everything. Then what's happening is that that marriage doesn't have the blessing of the family. That marriage doesn't have a support structure that it needs to have. And what kind of a marriage is that when it's not supported and it doesn't have the structure that it needs? And also, I always tell young people that if you don't have money, but you want to get married, why don't you go and speak straight to your in-laws so that at least you can have a blessing to them and say, mom and dad, I love this boy. If you're a girl, I love this boy and I want to get married too, but we just don't have money for Lobola. When we are good and sorted, then we will be able to pay Lobola. That for me is better than saying, forget your parents, forget your relatives. Let's just elope and go and get married, and then all of a sudden, this beautiful institution we call marriage, all of a sudden it no longer have the support structure that it needs to have. And for me, I am blessed in that I got married. Well, I got married 30 years ago. I paid Lobola, and I always had a support structure in my in-laws. My wife always felt that she was supported, but I'm one of those two that does not believe that anyone who wants to marry my daughter must pay Lobola. I don't believe in that. But I'm not going to enforce that on others, and I'm not going to tell others to do the same thing. You know what I'm trying to say? But that is my belief. That's what I hold very dear, because I want to make sure the young people get started and get moving. But I can support that. That decision that I've taken, I can support it. I can support it within my family. I can support it within my relatives, and I can support the two young people that get married, because I know how to get going and help them to move forward. Did I answer your question?
Perfect.
Did I leave it behind?
No, it was answered perfectly.
Beautifully.
Okay.
Chakadama?
I think for the last question that we'll serve to you right now, Baba, is this could lead to a hypothetical question, because every time I've spoken to someone about Lobola and kind of said similar things to what you're saying, and people have still come to me with the part of, what if the in-laws say no? What if they don't support you getting married without paying Lobola? And I'm stumped. I don't know what to think, because I'm not in that situation. I haven't been married yet. I haven't gone and spoken to anyone's parents to say I want to get married, so I have no clue. But what is a counsel that you give to young people? Because young people today are very scared of marriage for multiple reasons. And one of them is Lobola, unfortunately, where people do have conversations of, I will never pay Lobola, and that's okay, that's their decision. And others who are saying that, it's really okay to pay Lobola, and then one day they can be the one who wants to pay Lobola and the one who doesn't want to pay Lobola, who meet and want to get married, and then there's that conflict. That's just one of the scenarios. But what is your message to young people who are just trying to get married, who want to get married, or who might even be scared of getting married? What is your message to them as to, going to get married, whereas at a young age, an old age, all of these nice things?
And Sharakama, let me just check on that question again. They are scared to get married because of Lobola.
Multiple reasons, including Lobola.
Or multiple reasons regarding. Well, marriage, whether you like it or not, marriage is a work of faith. Is a work of faith, because you go to it because you believe it is an institution that was given to us by God. Because it is an institution that was given to us by God, God can sustain it. But you can't go into it planning to get a divorce. You must go into marriage with the belief that you will do everything you can to make sure that it succeeds. And you must go into it knowing very well that there are challenges associated with marriage. because you are bringing together two young people who were raised from two different families with a completely different culture and different belief. Whether you like it or not, you may be in the same suburb, but the very fact that you come from two different families, that means that there are two different cultures represented, you know. And so, if young people understand that, and then they are willing to go there and try it, they are willing to go there and sacrifice for it, they are willing to go out there and be patient and persevere. Maybe the word persevere is a wrong word, because persevere meaning that even when it's so hard, even when a person is becoming immoral and they are wrong, you need to persevere. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that when the difficulty is going tough, but you're going to be able to fight it through and be able to win. And I mean, Sister Mdletshe can tell you of the difficulties and challenges that we have passed through, sometimes because I've made a mistake or because she has made a mistake. But what is that has sustained us for 30 years and made us to continue to love each other is because I think that God has been at the center of our marriage. And we've tried our best to do what the leaders of the church are doing. Like I told you, I was late to come to this meeting because I had a family scripture with my family. You know, so it is also building in these celestial habits in your family and make them stick and make them become part of your family. Because if you can build them and make them become part of your family, the chances of you surviving your marriage becomes much easier. And forget about the worldly things. You know, today I listened to a man, and he said that he got married, and when he got married, he was working and the wife never worked, and then things turned bad one day. He lost his job. He was unemployed, and slowly the woman moved away from him. Think about that. And eventually they got a divorce because good or bad no longer apply to this woman. When the things were tough for that marriage, that woman decided to move away from it. That's not the kind of a woman you want, or that's not the kind of a man that you want. You want to make sure that when the going gets tough, you stick together, you fight together, and you win together. If you lose together. But it is now, how do you find such a person? And that's where the question is. How do you find such a person that will be willing to take you through, regardless of what happened? At the same time, I always tell young people, don't get married to somebody that you know that this person is going to cause havoc for you and your family. That their behavior, that somewhere along the way, you know, they will do things that will bring headache into your family. No, don't do that. And you can tell that, you can see that from a distance. It doesn't take long to know this person is not going to take me anywhere in life. You know, and so don't go into that path, but marry somebody that you can be able to fight together and win together.
Baba, we appreciate your time, your words of wisdom. We know that you have to run soon to another meeting, and therefore we will revere that. But we have lots of things to think about, and we hope our viewers have heard today the criteria for being a good spouse, the criteria for seeking a good spouse, and the principles for a successful life. We really appreciate you, Tata. Thank you so much for everything that you've shared with us.
And we can pick up the discussion from here next time. You know, because I think we all will talk about is marriage, so we can pick up from here and see if we can build from it again.
We will appreciate that. Thank you so much, Jeremy.
Okay.
Sweet. Thank you so much, everyone, for being with us. We have had a really good discussion with Brother Mdletshe. And like you said, unfortunately, we had a late meeting, but all in all, every time we speak to him, we're always getting something new, something good, and something to think about. I loved what he spoke about of getting a role model, and I've been learning about it as mentors that is something that is amazing to have. Somebody to look to, somebody to help you and assist you through these things. Let's not forget that we're also a community. We're a group of people who are trying to get around. As much as we're members of the church and salvation is an individual matter, we're also working to exaltation, family matter. So we thank you for being with us, 100%. And we love you all, and we hope that you got something out of this that will help you to strive more for exaltation. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night.